Hey friends, today I want to share a few surprisingly gentle methods the Japanese use to keep their homes calm, clear, and clutter-free. But not in a Pinterest-perfect way. In a real-life, deeply peaceful kind of way. The kind where your space actually helps you breathe better, not just look better. I've been trying out some of these habits in my own home, and let me tell you, they're not flashy, but they work. Not because they make your house look like a magazine, but because they make you feel more in control without the chaos. So if you've been feeling like your home has started to stress you out a little even when it's not technically messy, this might be exactly what you need. Let's walk through it together. One habit at a time. Nothing overwhelming. Just a few small shifts to help your space and your mind feel lighter. Habit 1. Let empty space do the talking. We're so used to filling every shelf, every wall, every surface. A blank spot feels like something's missing, like we forgot to finish decorating. But what if that empty space is actually doing the most? In Japan, there's a concept called ma. It means the space between things, not an emptiness. A pause, a place for stillness. Not just for your eyes, but for your brain. I tried this one day without meaning to. I cleared off a little table by the window, wiped it down, and didn't put anything back. That corner stayed empty. And I swear to you, every time I walked by, I felt a little breath of calm. Not because it looked minimalist, but because it didn't ask anything from me. So if your home feels too full, don't start with a trash bag. Start with one small surface, clear it, wipe it clean, and just leave it. No new tray, no vase, no candle, just air. You might be surprised how full an empty shelf can feel. And if this kind of quiet shift speaks to you, you'll probably love what I'm posting tomorrow. It's a collection of tiny 1-minute habits that make minimalism feel less like a project, and more like a rhythm. Next, let's talk about what to do with the things that aren't bad, but just aren't quite yours anymore. Habit 2. Let go with gratitude, not guilt. Some things are easy to toss. Broken pens, expired coupons, unmatched socks. But what about the coat your late husband wore, or the book your friend gave you 5 birthdays ago that you never finished but never returned? That's where most of us get stuck. We don't keep things because we love them. We keep them because we feel bad letting them go. In Japan, there's a quiet habit called kansha. It means expressing gratitude before saying goodbye. Instead of treating decluttering like a purge, it becomes a small ritual of respect. I've seen this done so gently. A woman folding her husband's old sweater, pausing, placing her hand on the sleeve and whispering, "Thank you for keeping me warm." And then she let it go, not with guilt, but with care. You don't have to explain it to anyone. Just acknowledge what that item gave you: comfort, inspiration, even a lesson in what you don't need. And then if it's no longer serving you, let it move on. Letting go isn't disrespect. It's recognition that something or some season has done its job. Next, let's talk about how to organize the things you do keep in a way that calms your eyes, your body, and your brain. Habit 3. Store things the way your brain sees them. Have you ever opened a drawer and immediately felt tired? Not because it's messy, but because everything is stacked, buried, layered. To get to one thing, you have to move 5 others. By the time you find what you need, you're already drained. The Japanese have a habit that changed this for me completely. They store things vertically. Clothes aren't stacked like pancakes. They're folded small and lined up like books. Kitchen tools aren't tossed in a bin. They're stood upright in small containers. Even towels and papers vertical, visible, simple. I started with one drawer, just my socks. Folded, stood them up, gave each one a little space. And the next morning, something small but real happened. I opened that drawer and instead of digging, I smiled. It sounds so minor, but visual calm matters. When your things are lined up, not piled up, you don't just find what you're looking for, you feel like your home is quietly supporting you. Up next, a tiny rule from Japanese homes that can stop clutter from creeping back in. Habit 4. One in, one out. The quiet rule that keeps balance. We often don't notice clutter creeping in. A new scarf here, a cute mug from the store. Something on sale we'll find a spot for later. And little by little, the space gets heavier. In many Japanese homes, there's a quiet habit that keeps this in check. For every new thing that comes in, something old goes out. It's not a strict rule. It's a gentle pause, a question. If I bring this in, is there something that's done its job and can be released? I started doing this with clothes. Every time I bought a new top, I'd take a moment to scan my closet. Is there something I haven't worn in a year? Something that no longer feels like me? Sometimes I let go of nothing, but other times I let go of a little guilt, a little weight I didn't know I was carrying. This habit doesn't just prevent clutter. It shifts how you shop, how you choose, how you value what you already have. Because peace doesn't come from getting more. It comes from protecting the space you've already cleared. And next we'll talk about how to know when something you own is quietly asking to be let go. Habit 5. If it no longer speaks to you, it's okay to let it go. Some things don't scream trash. They're not broken, not useless. They just sit there. And every time you see them, you feel nothing. Or worse, something heavy. In Japanese homes, there's a quiet belief everything in your space holds energy. And sometimes an object's energy has simply run its course. It could be a chipped teacup you haven't used in years, a photo frame you walk past without really seeing, a decoration that once felt special but now just blends into the background. These things aren't clutter in the usual sense, but they can still drain you. They carry a whisper of who you used to be or who you thought you'd become. Misako, the woman who inspired this series, used to ask herself, does this still bring life into the room, or does it just take up space? I tried that question with a candle holder I'd kept for years. It wasn't ugly, it wasn't broken, but it didn't feel like me anymore. Letting it go made the shelf, and strangely my head feel a little clearer. Sometimes it's not about decluttering with a checklist. It's about noticing what your space is quietly telling you. And up next, we'll talk about a tiny daily habit that can stop clutter before it even starts. Habit 6. A few minutes a day keeps the chaos away. Decluttering doesn't always mean a big weekend project. Sometimes it looks like wiping a counter while the kettle boils, or straightening the entry table before you check your phone. In Japan, there's a gentle practice called suji, the habit of tidying not as a chore, but as a daily rhythm of care. Not deep cleaning, not organizing your whole life, just tending to one small space with calm attention. Misako had a simple version of this. Each morning, she'd pick one surface, a shelf, a nightstand, the corner of the bathroom sink, and spend 5 minutes caring for it. No rush, no pressure, just presence. I started trying this before my kids woke up. Not because I'm a morning person, but because I needed to reclaim some part of the day that felt like mine. Some mornings I wiped down the stove. Other days I just reset the shoes by the door. It wasn't about cleaning. It was about beginning my day with clarity instead of clutter. And over time, those little 5-minute moments started to ripple out, keeping things tidy, not because I had to, but because the space now felt respected. Next, we'll look at how even your home can change with the seasons without buying a single thing. Habit 7. Let your home move with the seasons. Most of us don't change our homes unless something big happens: a holiday, a renovation, a guest coming over. But in Japan, there's a quiet habit called shun, a seasonal rhythm that gently guides how the home feels throughout the year. It's not about decorating, it's about staying in step with the time you're in. Misako didn't overhaul her space every season. She simply noticed what no longer belonged to the current moment. In spring, she put away thick blankets. In summer, she let light spill through sheer curtains. Fall brought in dried herbs and warm textures. Winter, a little candlelight and wood. Nothing fancy, nothing new. Just thoughtful rotation, letting what's useful for this season take the front seat and letting the rest quietly rest. I tried this with just one thing, the heavy throw blanket I always kept on the couch even in July. I folded it, tucked it into a basket, and suddenly the whole living room felt lighter, like it could breathe again. This habit isn't about style, it's about flow. It reminds us you're allowed to shift. Your space is allowed to shift with you. And when your home matches the season you're actually living in, not stuck in one from years ago, it becomes a little easier to feel like you belong there too. That's it. 7 small, thoughtful habits I've learned and lived with that help keep my home and my mind a little clearer each day. Not one of them will make your space perfect. But together they've helped me move from feeling like I'm always catching up, to finally feeling like my home is quietly supporting me, not competing with me. If your space has started to feel heavy, not just physically, but emotionally, maybe today is a good day to start with just one little shift. A shelf, a drawer, a decision made with kindness. And if this kind of calm, practical rhythm is something you'd like more of, tomorrow's video is all about tiny 1-minute habits, the kind you can do without thinking, but that quietly change everything over time. So if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe, not for pressure, but so this kind of content finds its way back to you when you need it most. And above all, take care of your space. Because it's not just where you live, it's where you return to yourself.